This is the fall. This is where the ego falls. This is where we start to lose sight of the light.
He's the represent. I felt like since he's the first one to integrate his shadow, he was the one able to bring everybody together and get to see everybody integrate the shadow at one after one.
Yeah, and you're projecting your whole your boyfriend's getting cheated on you. No, your boyfriend's getting cheated on you, shorty. Your boyfriend's getting cheated on you. Not everybody else. They just be projecting all of this.
You know, people just don't realize it. Just keep blaming Eve in every single situation: relationship, work, exercise, sleeping, passions, desires, everything.
What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner,
Hey guys, this is Harith, and welcome back to Truspace.
and let's look at Libra season and how this solar transit, the starting of the fall season, how this is going to affect all of us within our lives psychologically, and the things that we can do or the things that we can avoid so that we can best ride this fall wave, get within the energy that the our surroundings and environment is within, so that we can start going the path of least resistance and start going with nature and start working in tandem with our surroundings instead of being at opposition with everything at all the time, so we can have clarity of mind because we know what the playing field is going to be like. We know what plays the other team is gonna run, so that we can design our offense, our way of attacking life and going about things within the proper structures and patterns. And this is what astrology is about. So yeah, getting into it, this Libra energy. How do you think this transition from Virgo into Libra is going to be hitting us, especially since leaving Virgo? What do we have? That Neptune opposition. How do you think that Neptune opposition with the Sun in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces, as we were leaving Virgo, how do you think that affected us, and how do you think that kicked off Libra season?
So that point was very important because as we were finishing up and solidifying our broad routines and perform, how can we be more practical? How can we be more health orientated and deal with what we harvested so far from Cancer season, what we initiated and connect to emotionally, and then Leo season, what we went on the stage and played as a form of a character, had fun with, entertained ourselves with, and Virgo season was basically the harvest season where we practicalized it, and the opposition with Neptune was for us to see how far when it comes to our work in terms of routines, pattern, what we've been doing. Can this allow us to reach to our dreams and illusion, basically? And the more work you've been putting in, the more that distance between the Sun and Virgo and Neptune and Pisces is not as far as it seems. But if you do not put the work in, try to practicalize or work on your health and different form of routines and patterns related to your dreams and illusions, so then at right now at this transition, you see there's a lot of difficulties and how your dreams and illusions are way more further than they actually could be if you actually been putting in the work. So as we're entering Libra season, if you've been putting in the work, you know you have a good routine, a good habits that will help you get to where you want to be in terms of dreams and illusion. So now you can focus on initiating the right partnerships and the relationships that could move with this what you've been building so far. But if
Well,
you don't,
mhm.
you're gonna feel very nervous about what you're gonna, the people you're gonna connect to and who you're gonna relate to because you have nothing. You just end up just relating for the sake of relating without nothing how you harvested.
It's because you won't know how to work with other people. You haven't been of service, which is an interesting thing. I think that's why school starts in Virgo season, because you learn so much. And this was in a book. I don't know if you ever read it. Stephen Arrow, and like an astrologer, like the 80s, something like that. The four elements and psychology and astrology and the four elements. But anyways, he talked about the education learning and how it relates to mutable signs, and how a lot of times within astrology people would go into the Gemini portion of learning where, you would entertain a lot of information and you would accumulate a lot of information in terms of learning the language of astrology, and with sextiles, our aspects, and learning the language and the technical know-how, and then automatically jump into Sagittarius in terms of projecting that into the public and trying to teach astrology and trying to do all of that. But he
Mm.
said so much people neglect the Virgo phase where you're more of service, like say like an evangelist or like somebody giving out readings for free, doing the readings for all of your friends. You're doing the stuff for cheap, not for the money of it, but for the practice of it, getting your 10,000 hours and putting the work in, like what you were saying, building the substance and the practical
Mm-hmm.
experiences before we go and project it and be like, oh, this is what we do. Oh, I'm an astrologer and stuff like that. And I can tell you things about your life, but you haven't told things about anybody's life before, if you get what I mean, where you have to go through that Virgo phase where you are being of service. And then maybe people would buy your book. So much people, would be, learn about astrology and put out a book and expect it to go a million and stuff like that, or not realize that there's a whole bunch of astrology books out in the world. How is yours gonna cut through? But if you had done the 1,000 hours and put in the time into it, and that's just using astrology as a reference where that can be applied within any different medium of life in terms of the education portion. So really being of service, and he was talking about like the apprenticeship aspect where that's kind of been taken out of society, where you know the most niggas that graduate from university and college is like they don't even know
Do anything.
yeah, like legit.
Yeah.
You can't plug them into any situation. If they do, you're gonna have to train them. It's like from zero again,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Because the majority of school is more like theoretical. Then that's like it's not practical. Like this is why we have co-op program and things like that. But like they should extend these type of things way more.
If what you want to be is whatever, the best way to learn that is to
Just
go and
being that.
shadow some, exactly. Like if you want to build a business, the fuck are you gonna go to business school listening to
That's so
accounting?
stupid.
It's so stupid when you could just shadow a businessman running a business that you might like to do, and how much businesses wouldn't benefit from that. And then now look at the economy being intertangled with education.
Mm,
It just seems like a more interconnected way of building a society. So education is not going to be janky because it's depending on our money, and then our money is not going to be janky because it's depending on it. You're going to have a little bit more stability within those aspects. But we don't run things like that. We don't value apprenticeship, and which is so valuable. Like even now, like I keep on looking like I swear one day, bro, like one day I'm a pop that pineal gland and start seeing shit. One day, bro. But I keep on thinking like, yo, like what if we had mentors, or what if there's like a school for psychic development, and like legitimate stuff like that, and you were able to have a mentor to start to confirm certain experiences or to direct you into actual places, like um like actual mentors for stuff like that. I found myself craving things like that instead of just reading of crazy feats being done, I actually wanted to see that around. So I definitely see that apprenticeship. I would leap at a chance to, follow somebody doing that stuff so that you can eventually do that. So I can eventually learn how to do that myself. And see if there's any legitimacy and practicality behind those type of aspects to see if it's real for yourself instead of fantasizing at a distance. And then that's how you get all of these other people who may have psychic potential, all of these shorties on Instagram, especially when they're the shorties, like women be psychic as hell. But when it's not guided, like what a mentor can help build with some structure, and they're just trying to use their intuition. Oh shit! You just be a random tarot reader and you doing black magic on everybody. Like you be doing pulling the cards,
yeah.
and, and you're projecting your whole your boyfriend's gonna cheat on you. No, your boyfriend's gonna cheat on you, shorty. Your boyfriend's gonna cheat on you. Not everybody else. They just be projecting all of their own archetypes and stereotypes onto the readings and the cards and shit like that. Um, be doing black magic rituals for everybody. But yeah, you get into that dangerous aspect. But just to go on into the importance of that apprenticeship phase, and then look at how it progresses into Libra. Where Libra, you're gonna have to start to work with people. Where you're gonna have to start to balance yourself. Where you have to enter society. Now we're entering the social science. Now it's not just us, our and our household and our immediate surroundings. It's uh, it's everybody at large, how you relate and create partnership with everybody in a broad sense of the term, and sometimes even with the law, how you and the law is the aspect how we all kind of relate with each other. So it's like you kind of
Mm.
do enter into that realm.
Mhm.
In
A law, actually, Libra starts the realm of law, in my opinion. Understanding
my
social
art.
and yeah, understanding social interactions is what actually allow you to prevent certain things going to the court. Because you would really you see that in certain law books, they would say if you could deal with things in the moment, so like certain like diplomatic energy and things like that, you could prevent things from going too far, and people going to the law court, people getting sued and stuff like that.
95% of cases end up in plea deals. They don't go to trial. They negotiate beforehand. Be like, all right, my nigga, just say you're guilty, and we only gonna give you this, that, and the third, or we'll settle and we'll pay you 10 grand. So let's not go through the whole thing where you're gonna have to pay 40,000 in lawyer fees, and then we're gonna have to pay whatever, whatever it is. Let me just give you 500 right now for it, or whatever, where you negotiate beforehand. So most cases, like what you're saying, yeah, don't end up in a negotiation where both parties, and then there's normally a mediator and aspects like that, lawyers and shit like
Mm.
that, to act as the balancing aspects. And a lot of that does have the essence of Libra season, the diplomacy, the essence of compromising, and trying to establish an equilibrium, a matter of fairness amongst two parties. This is the energy and vibe that Libra season is going to be in, where we're gonna have to learn how to dance with other people. And yeah, it plays out in relationships, romantic relationships a lot of the time, but it's not held within that domain. Um, you can check out your business partners with Libra placements in your seventh house. It also, with your partners and just in general, whether maybe even your teammates, or colleagues to that. And then your casual friends that you hang out with, people that you have grown up with and have relationships within those phases. Relationships just in general, and how you balance yourself among these. This is the essence that everything's going to be in. So just like how we're talking about with court, things are going to be a little bit more pristine now with, how in court you have the legalese and how you talk, with the slick talk, and you kind of have to know the language of that domain for you to be able to maneuver yourself, or for you to be able to, find your rhythm within everything's. That's how it's going to be now, where your words and how they flow is going to be very important. And you don't even have to be saying much right now, yo. Like, that's how a Libra season is. Maybe later on. It's Scorpio season, when people start getting serious and they want to see what's behind closed doors. Maybe then you would have to start backing up the things that you say. But in Libra season right now, is if you talk slick, you can get far. Right now, So it's more so understanding the right words to say. Gemini may run out of words or use all different type of words to see what works, and Aquarius is just stubborn on one particular, way of saying things. And if you don't get with it, fuck you. And if you do get with it, I'm going to milk it and get all the attention I can out of it. But Libra, the first instance, the first words, the first impressions, are very have weight. That's what makes Libras indecisive. First impressions are big on Libras, and how other people perceive them. They want to get that that knocked down. So that's where everything's going to be focused right now, and how you can deliver what you're saying, not necessarily things behind it, not necessarily, but you're gonna have to back up. You don't want to set up anything right now, but you can be a little bit more grandiose than what you can produce, as long as you're confident in the habits and routines that you have built back in Virgo season, and what that builds up to do. And then Mars already took the lead going through Libra ahead of time. How do you think Mars racing ahead kind of prepped us for Libra season two?
With Mars being in Libra, it probably allowed us to start taking more action and become more passionate about the energy in general before the sun starts to move with there. Before we start becoming more aware and more action and goal orientated.
100%, and kind of dealing with the frustrations of relationships too. So maybe like in Virgo season when it was up ahead, we're here. This motherfucker Lucas trying to call me. That's a joke. I swear this nigga calls me more than my mama. This nigga calls me more than anybody, anytime. But yeah, anyways. But yeah, Mars going up ahead kind of created this level of nervousness or annoyance and frustration within our relationship areas, and how we're balancing our day to day with people as we were progressing in Virgo and building a daily routine, kind of showing us how they can get in the way, which I feel is very valuable. Maybe you're frustrated, and maybe you're coming into Libra season maybe a little bit more sour with the relationships that you are in, but that frustration was merely to show you the holes that you have in your relationships, where the lack of efficiency is going on, where there's not 50-50 exchange equilibriums being established, and whether you need to take more initiation into balancing out those percentage levels, or if you need to start demanding a little bit more percentage levels so things can be on a equilibrium. But if you had let those distract you, then you wouldn't have been building the good habits for you to be able to be like, nah, you have to clean up your shit, because now I've done the spring cleaning. I've done accepted that, how dirty my space is affects my mentality. So I'm gonna go and clean this up. So now I have that practice building up that habit. So now somebody can come in and start, dirtying shit up and acting like you ain't here, like you haven't been doing that. Now there's more weight to it. But if you still were dirty, and this other person, even if you don't like it, and they're making it worse, and they're doing it way worse than you really can't say much, because you left the wrapper on the counter too, type shit. That's why that transition between Virgo and Libra is so important. Otherwise, we play catch up. We have to play catch up in the next season, when we don't really get with the wave. That's why it's important for us to get on the energy of Libra is in now, and start orienting how we move forward within the world to get aligned with these things. So yeah, I think a good aspect of Libra to note this season, energy that we're going to be dealing with, like what I was saying, like Mars kind of already exposed a lot of those aspects to us, but through that frustration, but through your seventh house and through Libra in general. And then Libras are a prime example of it. Every Libra gets it. You know how Libras love get into bare relationships and shit like that. They don't realize that they get into relationships with people who are projections of their shadow. And this is stuff that we all do, that you can look in our seventh house and kind of see how we project our shadows onto other people, and how we incorporate that into our relationships. But Libras are prime examples of that on a higher scale. And you'll find Libras find people that are bad to them, that take advantage of them, that don't value them, that um all different type of shit. And you're like, wow, look at this nice Libra. And it's like the nice girl with the bad guy type of archetype, where Venus being abused type of deal, where you're too kind, or you're being taken advantage of. The other person's too aggressive, taking too much, type of deal. But that is your shadow side that you are trying to suppress, your own anger, your own problems that end up getting projected onto your partner. And that's how relationships go for everybody. For everybody. All too often, we end up projecting our own shadows onto our partners. And that's not to say like the things that are being done aren't real, but you have to understand the source of where things are created from. You create your relationships. So if somebody's treating you a type of way or they're doing something, you really have to start asking yourself, what am I doing? And you have to do the inner work, that shadow work, because when you suppress your inner feelings and emotions and thoughts, they project outside of you unconsciously. Your subconscious finds things within your life to project itself out of, and then now you're interacting with these supposed external forces within your life, but they're really just internal projections out onto these external things, if you get what I mean. Just like how, say, with politicians, people play out that mom dad archetype where, niggas look at Trump like if he's their father, type deal, like,
Bro, niggas would die for Trump. The way it sounds like
yo, real shit, yo. It's like, yo, he's finna fix the black family. Like, he's finna fix the black family.
out
Like
of
the
everybody.
like not the black father. Not just working together. It's crazy. Nah, somebody else has to come and fix the problem. We broke out here. They taxing too much up. We need daddy or mommy to come and fix the situation. We need daddy government to come and rectify things, rectify our lives, and all of that. That's us projecting father, mother archetypes onto the government, thinking that they're supposed to take care of us, thinking that because it's distorted because we probably didn't have a good relationship with our own fathers, with our own mothers, and because without that healthy, authoritative love for you to understand the dynamics of that father archetype, the positive and negatives, and how to move along that spectrum, it always goes to extremes and polar extremes and in different realities where you need a highly aggressive dad or you need a highly passive dad archetype, because those archetypes aren't balanced within you. Now that's the type of people who have tyrants in their life, or the type of people who, have no one who looks after them and nobody cares and nobody takes risks. Those are the types of things, because without those inner archetypes healed and without noticing where the problem stems, and then you're going to be blaming everything onto your partner, further suppress, like so much suppression. And this is the fall. This is where the ego falls. This is where we start to lose sight of the light of our ego. When shit like this starts happening, it's starting to get darker. So when I'm talking about shadow aspects in Libra, this is real, and how it goes into our relationships. It's yeah, some real shit. What do you think about that with the shadow aspect and how that relates to Libra?
No, that makes 100% a perfect sense because I just realized I just realized that sunset is around like Libra time and things like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I think about it from like a whole astrology point of view. We're watching like a almost like a macro version of the sunset.
Literally,
Literally,
literally.
and if you think about the sun as like the blood flow of this being we live inside of, and if you think about how we started the sun, started the whole thing in Aries, we travel from the Aries, the brain nervous system, Taurus, the hormonal system, and then Gemini, the lungs, Cancer, the immune system, and then Leo, the heart, the blood, and then Virgo, the digestive system, then Libra. We're all almost through the entire body. We're almost in the kidney area of that whole travel. So this deal with like learning how to balance things out, create harmony within the body, releasing waste, which is a major part for you to be able to detoxify your body and to be able to tap into like what the peace deal calls in Scorpio, like pure energy. But pure
Yeah,
energy comes from being so clean that your body could just produce electricity as opposed to having to deal with all those stagnations that comes from toxins, pathogen, mucus, and so on and so forth. But the Libra, it starts the fall season. So that fall season, think about it, the organs of the body system, related to releasing waste. Libra is the kidney, Scorpius transformation detoxification. Sagittarius is the inflammation response.
Mm.
Do we have like an alkaline tissue expansion or a negative tissue expansion, which is inflammation and things like that. So that's the like the fall season energy,
Yeah.
like literally falling, like the washroom. That's the fall season.
Yo, literally, yo, that's crazy. And then look at that. If Libra is the kidneys, and we're representing the blood going through the kidneys, being filtered through the kidneys right now. Imagine if the blood, your identity, what you're paying attention to, what you're giving your energy to, and there's been suppression in terms of things you're not paying attention to, things you turn your head to, things that need to be addressed and need to be brought to the surface. And there's all of this accumulation within your blood, all this toxemia, all of this things that you are suppressing that you didn't give notice to. How is your kidneys going to filter all of that? This is the point where your blood is trying to become purified. But
Hmm.
if you have all of this toxemia into it, what's going to end up coming out? These suppressed emotions, all of this suppressed energy, and it's real. Especially if sometimes we have so much shit suppressed, and this is why people get into
Hmm.
such turbulent relationships.
Hmm.
This is where all this energy comes from.
100%. A lot of people, when it comes to like detoxification, I think they forget about the kidneys and they don't pay attention to them. But they play a major role, especially for like the bones, Capricorn, and Cancer, and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, with the lymphatic system, right? I
Hmm.
wonder how the lymphatic system interacts with your kidneys, because if your kidneys is filtering your blood, does it filter the lymph as well?
Well, though the lymphatic systems, like it goes through the entire body. It has like lymph nodes in every single organs and system. This is how your body is able to extract the toxins. So the kidneys have lymph nodes around them. But with the
Ah.
but when lymph nodes are on certain organs, like the kidneys get blocked, this is how you end up with a certain, like say a form of kidney cancer, because that organ cannot detoxify to the lymph node. So
So all the toxemia starts to build up and
yeah,
turns
exactly,
into
yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
You see what happens where, and then look at would you say that the liver kind of connects with Virgo more, or would you say that that's also Libra season?
No,
Kind of like
Virgo,
a
liver is 100% Virgo. Yeah,
Virgo, right? So
yeah.
look at how efficient your liver would be at getting rid of this toxemia beforehand, before it can get to your kidneys, for your kidneys to have a better go at filtering your blood and going and get rid of this toxemia, so that cancerous type thing won't happen. But so look at this relationship. When your relationships turn toxic, I'm so tired of this culture of niggas blaming their partners, and especially the females blaming the men for not living up to. No, these men are living out your shadow, your projected archetypes. Why are you even with an ain't shit nigga in the first place? If that's the reality, maybe you just have high standards and you ain't giving niggas a chance. But let's say that what you're really experiencing is real, and this nigga really isn't living up to adequate standards, and he ain't shit nigga. How did you end up with an ain't shit nigga? Why is an ain't shit nigga even attracted to you in the first place? Levitated to you, thinking that he can accompany you. What does that say about what you're projecting out into the world? But now people don't want to have that
Mm,
type of reality or conversation, and you don't have to be antagonistic with yourself to have that reality talk, because that's real shit. If you ever want to get to a real genuine place, uh you're gonna have to start being honest with yourself, and that includes some of those harsher realities. Like, man, we really need to start blaming our partners for shit, man. It's that's the toxicity. That's the toxicity. I don't want to hear no nigga talking about how he's in a toxic relationship and all of that. Like, you ain't a man really at that point, and then that's not even a knock on you. That's just a knock on life, and like even I run into all of that shit where you really have to start checking yourself. But that's personal work, and you're never gonna actually get to a place of sovereignty and true masculinity, being in control of your destiny, being in control of your energy, having decision making power and the ability to create and all of that shit. You're never gonna have that blaming the other person, because now that's putting you into the bitch role. Now you're receptive. Now all of a sudden someone else has to change
Mhm.
for you to start to progress forward. That is a bitch. That is literally feminine energy.
And in the Bible, and when we fell from the Garden of Eden, this is how we felt when Adam blamed Eve on what happened. That he allowed
What
the
this
Eve the
bitch did
feelings
it.
and emotion
Yeah,
convinced
that.
him, the thought, the intellect, the logic to eat from the desires, and then he blamed it on her. And God looked at Adam, called him a bitter male. They forgot to add that in Torah.
Yo, kid, he's like, get the fuck out of here, bro. With your beta ass.
So remember that story as we go through a Libra season.
Yo, dead ass, yo. Dead ass. And then look at all of that projection. And then now he curves. Now both of them got all fucked up.
Yeah,
You
now we have
know?
the entire story of the Bible, Cain and Abel, like a whole family that hate
Whole
each
story.
other, like a
Uh
whole
huh.
civilization of people and mental illness, yo.
And now taking the dinner talk after all of that. Imagine the first dinner after being kicked out the Garden of Eden, where Eve and her dumb ass went and ate the apple, and Adam went and blamed her, acting like a bitch, a beta male, and now they have to go and sit and talk to each other after dinner. You know, imagine the relationship tension, and now you have a child, and you hate this bitch because she banished you guys out, and then you hate resent him because he didn't stand up to God and take your side like the man he's supposed to be, and all this whole bitterness, and then you raise two children. You damn right one of them killed the other nigga. You damn right there was some sibling robbery. It was a fucked up autopsy, all because they didn't want to talk about the day dad and that. You know, Cain and Abel probably asked Adam bare times, you know, oh, like what happened? Where were you born, Dad? What? Why do you keep on talking about this beautiful place? Why aren't we there? And you know, you'd be boxing them, be like telling them to shut the fuck up. You know, they'll never talk about that. You know, and the mom's just so quiet. I'm telling you, that sparked all first childhood trauma came from that first lack of accountability right at the beginning. Right at the
Mhm.
beginning.
And that story happens in every second of your life. Like I'm so this did ass serious about it. You know, people just don't realize it. Just keep blaming Eve in every single situation: relationship, work, exercise, sleeping, passions, desires, everything.
Literally. And then even look at that, man. Like, this is why I'm bringing this focus on the shadow, because look at Saturn being exalted in Libra, which is crazy, even though Saturn's not there right now, but that's the energy that is within Libra. Look at how that's talking about, you know, in terms of suppression, things of, and then look at that. For things to be diplomatic, for things to be on an equilibrium, sometimes you believe that things have to be suppressed, that things have to be nice and cheery. Let's not mention the negative aspects or the unhealthy aspects. Let's merge based off of the positives, which is all fine and dandy, but and that's how you're supposed to link, but without that repression, without all of that toxemia built up, you know, without all of that extra stuff, or else you will start bringing toxic things into things that could have been pure if those were addressed first. And you put yourself in the driver's seat. Saturn's exalted in Libra. I'm telling y'all, you put yourself in the driver's seat with Libra energy when you start taking accountability for your relationships. 100%. 100%. When everything that happens within your relationship, you go back to the contract that you had signed. Know that, you know, if you with a nigga, you know, y'all friends or whatever, childhood friends, whatever it is, you signed an esoteric contract with this nigga, and you in the ride with him, and police pulled up or whatever it is. No, you knew that nigga was a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
No, you knew he was
Mm-hmm.
driving without a license.
Mm-hmm.
No, you like you signed those
Mm-hmm.
esoteric. Now you hear cussing your friend. You know, you're finna rat on him so you don't get no time or and shit like that. But like, nah, you chose. you knew all of this shit going into it, so you can't be looking and blaming your friend. That doesn't mean you have to be happy about the situation that it's in. That doesn't mean you can't cuss the nigga and box him upside the head or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, for your own personal growth, to not allow that toxemia to build up, you take accountability for all of that and watch you have so much control of your relationships. Now you're not victimized by your seventh house. Now your seventh house isn't playing that as a distraction and for things to just play nice with things. With that level of accountability, you can actually have those real, genuine relationships. Put that positive foot forward because you know that if anything bad were to happen, you'll eat that, you'll take that. And imagine that's the type of person I want to go into business with. That's the type of friend that I want to have around. That's the type of person that I would want to build a life with, a partner that I would like to get into a romantic relationship with. That person that's going to be accountable within that relationship. Um, that's a huge part of it. So this whole aspect of marriage and involving the government into that, I'm starting to see the logic behind it and how that kind of does match the energy of Libra, but we can figure out different expressions of how to do it. We don't have to go through that aspect. But
Mhm.
how they're attaching the levels of accountability of the Saturn aspect, the responsibility of how you interact with the larger scope within these relationships. So you understand the weight of things so that you take accountability in your relationship. Relationships are how civilizations are built. Literally, these are the building blocks of everything. Like we don't understand the seriousness of relationships. We just be out here fucking and dating whoever, not realizing how much this
Mhm.
affects our energy, building up toxemia.
100%. And even to the small things and how to social interact, like saying thank you, how are you. These things take you to the long run without even realizing it, because it puts you
Oh
further
yeah.
and puts you further in line than other people who wouldn't socially interact. And oh,
100%.
and like one like great archetype for Libra, I feel like it's a Naruto, because Naruto has thing they call this talk no jutsu. Have you ever watched Naruto? He literally
Yeah.
he's the represent. I felt like since he's the first one to integrate his shadow, he was the one able to bring everybody together and you get to see everybody integrate the shadow at one after one. He even helped Sasuke to integrate his shadow. The one of the things that last deep in the shadows, basically like
Mm-hmm.
him doing all this. You can see how his power of harmony and balance literally led all of them to this like nice civilization, basically.
100%. Naruto's the perfect example. Yeah, 100%. Where and then that's where it can happen where like what I was talking about with the projection energy, like that is real and that's what Libras do. But when you're aware of that and then you master that, now you're the mirror and you show people reflections of their truest self. So now, and then Libras play out other niggas' shadows as well, not
Mhm.
just the relationship that they get in. Because they play that mirror aspect. So either you'll help reveal through your kindness, you help reveal and people see their own nastiness, or through your kindness, they see their own inner kindness and they can attach to that or whatever. However you use that projection ability. Libras are shapeshifters. Libras literally can take different shape and form depending on the environment, depending on the task. You can literally become a different person. Like Libras are actors. Like the best actors are people like Libras, not with the strong, heavy identity, one-minded way of thinking. No, I can play all different types of sides. I can play all different modalities, and that's Libra. But mastering that mirror aspect is essential. And for all of us that aren't Libras or don't have that heavy Libra energy, the seventh house and where we have Libra is a place where we can utilize that mirror aspect. And that's what I'm saying. Like, your relationships are the biggest reflector of where you are in your internal work. So that's how we should be looking at our relationships and taking accountability for them. And then now we can start shaping our internal world and using our relationships as a measure as what shadow is being projected onto us that we need to go back internally and heal. And once you heal all of that shit, I swear to God, once you're around a nigga that's just genuine, full of love and kindness, like you don't go and talk bad to those type of niggas. Like those are the nice niggas. You can have the hoodest of hood niggas and shit like that. I swear I used to use this all the time to dismantle niggas. You know what I mean? Like you have a hood nigga, you know, he's just all insecure. You never know, he's just walking and shit like that. And then maybe you look at him and you catches your eyes or some shit like that. And he's like, "What you looking at, nigga?" And he was all,
A nigga moment,
and it's a
yeah.
nigga moment about to come. Yo, I know how to skate these. You compliment his shoes. You know, like, yo, outside, bro. I
Nah.
was looking at them kicks, yo. Them kicks is fly, yo. Save the holes for the rest of us, yo. It's like, nigga, you
I
stop
like
playing,
his
stop
haircut,
playing,
yo.
It was like, yo, your hairline's beaming, bro. And then your man's, now you're friends with the hood man. And, you just disarmed a whole aspect because you reminded him of the happy side or the joke side. And then what did he end up throwing back and projecting back? More kindness. But then that's a skill where maybe if it was too nice, maybe it would have came off a little bit too pushy. And, it's like, oh, this gay ass nigga, and then more aggression, or maybe you don't balance it enough. So that's the skill that we need to develop within Libra. How far do we go? How do we dance and tangle with other people in terms of this projection that they're pointing onto us and our own shadow aspect, and how do we balance that? How do I balance that understanding? Because remember, this is what other people are doing to you as well. They're projecting their shadow onto you. So when they're saying you're this, that, and the third, they're saying I'm this, that, and the third, really, and you're playing out the art. So it's us balancing, seeing that, knowing they're projecting, knowing we're all projecting, and how to coincide with that. And that's how you have a happy relationship when you find that balance.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's Libra season. Battle of the shadows, the integration of the shadows. And then look at how Naruto integrated his shadow. Yo, that's crazy that you ever take in like shit like Naruto. Like I think we already talked about it. Like these Japanese niggas really meant to wake up humanity. Like
Mhm.
these
I'm
niggas are
telling
some crusaders.
I'm telling you, there's no way the Jews are not jealous of all these Japanese mangas, storytelling. There's no way. You're not telling me that. Like, just think about how in the West, anime is not so big, but it makes so much sense. If I rule a certain area, I don't want you to come with your cartoons, your imagination, your ideas, and influence my own people. Could you imagine how would a Jew feel instead of his son reading the Torah, learning about Moses? He comes to him watching about, I
Talking
learn
about
about Joy
Naruto
Boy.
doing yeah.
So
Like this
instead,
guy has rubber abilities.
so now that Jew has to
Ate a double fruit. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, so now this Jew has to tell his team and the people in Israel, yo, we're gonna block our relationship with these people because they're taking control of our kids of mine, and we don't want that to happen.
100%. I wonder if they were just kicking the knowledge dead straight before, and then niggas try to
Oh,
shut it down, and they're like, wait, let's put in some characters. Let's color it up, make it look like it's for kids and shit like that. Put all this esoteric knowledge in it. The first any nigga from where we're from heard about chakras first from Naruto. Like that was the first influence. The fact that you can have
100%.
like that's the
Like
first time you heard any of that shit.
even like
Elemental natures and shit like that.
metaphysics,
Naruto.
like metaphysics.
Naruto.
Yeah, 100%,
Dragon
100%.
Ball Z too with the flying nimbus and the teleportation and planetary type shit. Like niggas in the hood wasn't growing up on sci-fi. Like I never watched Star Trek. My parents weren't bumping
Nah,
Star Trek and shit
no,
like
no,
that,
no.
Nah, but Dragon Ball Z was playing on and they had interdimensional travel and they was talking about aliens and all of those different type of concepts. Like that was anime for us still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that integration of the shadow, what's his name? Naruto did. He realized, and it was just a nasty ass nigga too. His nasty ass side, like nah, it was all the victim point. But like, nah, remember then when they left us on the swing? Remember when we was on the swing out by ourselves? for first grade, second grade, third grade. You don't remember all them lonely swings? And the nigga's like, it's all good. And he hugged the nigga, and that's how he ended up integrating it, just to show you he accepted that shadow side. Like people have to realize, like the pain that you went through, like shorties be out here hating themselves when when you're dealing with all of these nasty things, the world's like rape and just lack of female mentorship and masculine mentorship and all of that. It's like, yeah, no shit, you ended up fucked up or screwed up. Like calm down, stop blaming it. Like look at the world. What examples did you have? What, you were supposed to follow? Cardi B was your role model. Taylor Swift was your role. Like who was you supposed to look at? Like who? Hillary Clinton was your role model. Like oh shit. Like what world? And then this is who your parents are looking up to, and these are who your parents are following. It's like nobody blames you for any of that. So y'all need to just give yourself a hug, and I guarantee half of your shadow side of those negative abilities would disappear into a small manageable package when you accept that you're not to blame for all of this type of shit. It's not that you can't take responsibility, but there's no fault. It's just fucked up down here. It's dirty as hell, and you got caught in the crossfire. If you were fed nothing but clean energy from the jump, from the beginning, you'd be nothing but pure, pristine, having the healthiest of relationships, being able to be open and hearted and jump into things without people taking advantage of you. You'd be able to gauge situations, know what's bad and good. But sadly, it wasn't like that. So we need to aid this balancing of our energy and by really clearing and paying attention to this toxemia, aka suppressed energy, aka our shadow projections on everybody, and softening up those images. Now, understanding that you're projecting your negative aspects into other people, and that other people are doing that themselves too, you start loving that shadow perspective. Start healing it. Start seeing it for what it is. And I guarantee by the end of Libra season, not only will you have more love for everybody around you and that you have relationships with, but you'll have more love for yourself. That you'll start to understand that shit. And then look at where the Libra is, the kidneys and the hip area. That's your whole root chakra, sacral chakra area too, where I bet a lot of shame is held. A lot of guilt and shame and lack of safety feelings, are held within those areas too. So
Mm-hmm.
we can really heal that this Libra season. But some good shit to flush out your kidneys. Maybe niggas can hop on that shit, or to at least aid your kidneys in its functioning. Do you know of anything like that?
From the top of my mind, I don't know any herbs, but it comes to there's a major part of the kidneys is like something called kidney stone, which a lot of people experience, but that comes from people eating a lot of food with a lot of density. So I think a good idea to keep in mind as we go through Libra season is to focus on food that's easier for your kidneys to like release waste
Digest.
with, digest, not get lost in all those different creatine powders, protein powders, all these different supplement and medications and things like that.
100%. Yeah, staying away from
E-
medication and stuff like that. I hear that fucks it up a
Mhm.
heavy amount too.
Even the simple practice of just drinking cheese, any tea, like black tea, green tea, all these things are good for you. Even just being hydrated is very necessary.
100%. Yeah, I see that too. Another thing, even because we're talking about air now too, just even doing more research and practice and experiencing more stuff with breath work, just starting to see the real potential of shit like that, and how that can help move energy and give you clear mindedness. So I wonder if a lot of breathing techniques might be able to help you, because more oxygen going throughout your body is giving your body more energy to be able to handle things with toxemia and getting rid of your blood. Well, everything really. If we're talking about excretion and getting things out of the body, we're looking at, and then I wonder if that's where the square with Libra and Cancer come from, where that's gonna trigger like your kidneys aren't gonna work as well. Say if your lymphatic system is clogged up, like on a cellular
A
level.
hundred, based on you're 100% because it's a square. There's a tension relationship between these two organs and body systems. Yeah, so they
Mm-hmm.
make difficult. They create difficulty for each other if they don't work smoothly.
100%. So I see that, and that's the suppressed emotions, man. It's big that we let go of that type of shit and talk about it and build relationships based off of this. You realize that you can build a lot of positivity. That's one way you can flip negative energy on its side. You can build up friends through suffering, through certain things that you went up. You can relate with other people based off of those negativities instead of projecting all those negative emotions and stuff like that. Start connecting with other people that have been taken advantage of. Start connecting with other people that can understand where you're coming from. A lot of that pain is going to be the source that allows you to start to develop the deepest connections that you have with people. So man, we really need it. It's shadow box here right now. That's Libra. Maybe that's the title of the video, bro. That's the thumbnail. Shadow boxing, literally.
Mhm.
Especially with Mars and Libra. I think I even wrote some shit like that. That's like shadow boxing, or like counter punching too. Talking about Libra, where and those are the flashy fighters too. Not the ones that are straightforward and they're putting on the pressure and shit like that. No,
Mhm.
it's the Adesanya, Israel Adesanya type niggas, the Floyd Mayweather type niggas, where they
Mhm.
dancing and shit like that, and then they catch
Mhm.
you with the counter, where they
Mhm.
use your momentum that you're using against you for them to go up. That's the type of shit that Libras would do. I wonder, is Libra ever the jester? The jester? Like you ever hear references to like jesters and Libra? Or I feel like that's not a
As
tarot
that
card.
as like the entertainer in the court. Like
Yeah,
you know how they have the clown in the court and he plays around for the king. I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
I think that's what I'm talking about. But I feel like something like I'm not the like somebody else correlated that to Libra. I feel like I've seen some shit like that. Maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
tripping. Maybe I'm tripping.
But I
So
agree with that. Like Jester, that's almost like kind of a little bit demonic, especially with Libra energy, because that they could lead to a lot of like lying, but not lying for a bad reason. This is what we as humans we have like white lies. We could lie for a good reason, but it's still unacceptable. But it still exists. Telling you lying is like part of our reality. This is why lying is not bad, and what so sometimes I look at social interaction as a bit of lying, a bit too flashy, as opposed to being too straightforward. But I could see the benefit of it and why it's necessary to lay the foundation and not make things so direct and make things much more diplomatic and connected and whatever.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Like that's probably like the basis of everything, like just even storytelling and shit like that. Like niggas didn't even talk about creation story. Niggas never talked about, at least ancestrally, oh, this rock formed out of whatever, or talk about particles and all of like the technical aspects. No, it's like the great turtle floating through the endless void, barfed up the universe or some shit like that. Like it's whole cosmology with celestial gods battling, and through the damage, that's how the planets get created, and how solar systems and galaxies and all of that through anthropomorphism and stories and archetypes, and all of that different type of shit. And look at how that can connect people, because now we can relate. Before, I can't relate with a particle, but if you call the particle Zeus or Athena or whatever, now I can start to connect with a natural force or an element of my natural reality in a more cerebral way. So,
And that Libra energy by Caesar describing it this way with the particle whole thing, it creates almost some form of relativity. So he's creating relativity because he's paying attention to this particle from this part of the wave and he's relating to it.
exactly. And then look at that. Look at the essence of Libra and its poeticness, its artistry, how it connects to poetry, and even the abstract way of thinking, or creative way of thinking. Is this the
Mm,
best way that we can relate with one another? Look at rappers. Why are they so relatable? Is it because they kicked it in a metaphor and a simile and they use the literary devices and stuff like that? Is that how we can easily access a level of relatability by thinking more poetically, more metaphorically,
mm,
by looking at things? And then now you start to understand why mythology was developed. They were building civilizations. They knew that we needed a story, some type of connecting aspects that we can all
mm,
relate to, that is poetic, that
mm.
enters to those other sides of the brain.
And I'm 100% when you, if we ever find out how these first rules ever interacted, this guy met this guy from this part of this world. It was based, yo, I was impressed with the way you guys lined up with the pyramid. You guys did this, the way you guys explained this. Oh, we did this, and I see the similarity. They saw the beauty between what they did.
Yeah,
So and, and
exactly.
and that's what brought them together in like a form of equilibrium to rule together, as opposed to how people think about it in this day where, oh no, there was fighting. And but this one, they made it seem like, if anything, they were inspired by each other, the ruler of Rome, the ruler of Persia, the ruler of America. They were not thinking like what you were thinking. Like, it's a whole different thing.
100%.
We're
100%.
projecting our shadow onto them.
Yeah, yeah, yo, literally. Yo, literally, like even down to America, like their whole constitution's based off of Native American ways of govern. Like they got their government from Native Americans, and they taught
Mm,
us that at school, but it was just kind of like one of those mumbled things that you mumble fast, and then we never go back to and look at and check. But I remember they told us that we got the our constitution from the what
the
do they call it?
Iroquois
The
Indians.
Iroquois Confederacy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Exactly. Man remembers his grade 10 history. All right.
Now I was
That's
watching
just
Camira who look a few like weeks
Camille.
ago. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did talk about that too. Yeah, and Dr. Ali did it too. And where he talked
Mm-hmm,
about how the first Declaration of Independence, which is allegedly lost, um, had only two signatures on it, John Hancock and some other niggas, because they were the only ones who had Indian citizenship and had Indian names and went through like a whole ritualistic process
mm-hmm,
for them to be incorporated within a tribe, because that's where the government was before. And then, those niggas with other niggas kind of, took the shape and form of what were handed. They called them the Sons of Tammany. They even made it like a secret group named after a Native American chief who shared this level of structure. Like they were all friends and shit before all of that shit got backstabbed, because they had help from before. Like that's a whole thing that niggas don't understand, that niggas don't even realize, like even with the slave trade. Cut off topic now that I'm thinking about it, but look at this
mm-hmm.
dumbass shit. Niggas really think they brought Africans over here to go and start tending the fields and growing food. I mean, some European ass nigga that has no knowledge about agriculture, the land, the ecosystem, the biology, or how to grow any of the crops over here. So gonna go and get a nigga from Africa that also has no idea about the land, the terrain, to grow crops, and go and bring those niggas and then teach them how to farm and grow shit here when you don't even know how to do that. Like that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Or there was Native Americans there already that were the dominating of that slave class. But anyways, um, yeah, that's the energy of Libra, and I'm not even too sure if we're gonna go through any like major aspects. I can check it real quick, but
We don't have any really major aspect. It's just like you. I think we have to pay attention to the in conjunction that's gonna be created when the sun goes deeper into Libra with the Jupiter and Uranus, which might make us forget, trying to expand and learn, extract out wisdom about our values and what we're trying to securitize for ourselves, and how we try to be unique and original. Sometimes this Libra energy might get us off track or create unnecessary relationships that might leech off our resources that we've been building so far. So we gotta pay attention on what kind of relationship we're creating, which is yeah.
100%. We may feel a level of nervousness or hyper acceleration. You're right in that Taurus aspect, which maybe puts us in a more receiving or more of a stubborn type of aspect, more of a materialistic type of aspect. Maybe we wouldn't. Maybe because, like, say you would need to play more of the game. Maybe talk a little bit or kind of
Talk a
delay
little bit more.
from immediate, yeah,
Yeah,
from immediate results.
let the sun travel deeper more and then reach more experiences. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Jupiter and Uranus, especially Uranus being there, will create some nervous type of energy where you feel like, no,
Mm.
I have to make this irrational decision for security. I need to feel secure right now. But you're dancing. Maybe you're dancing and the ground under you is not necessarily, you're spinning a bunch, but the ground under you is not feeling as solid. So you might get scared and want stability, and stop the dance, but little did you know you're about to land the move, or little did you know you're about to really woo the crowd, or you're about to stick it and land it. So 100% that in conjunction is definitely something to um, worry about. So know that where the sun is going to be what's most important, and it's going to create a level of awkwardness. But know that sometimes you're going to have to dance the dance, or do the bid work, or play the nice guy, or give out the opening hand. You can't always receive or expect to receive things. You're gonna have to be in a more of a active role. Even if you do start receiving things, because that's what Jupiter be doing sometimes. Jupiter be giving you shit. Um, a lot of times people get what they want, and then once they get what they want, it throws them off rail because they're supposed to get it later, or they're supposed to get it, and now that they have it, they don't know what to do with it. And like they get fucked up, or because you have something, you lose your drive, you lose your initiation and initiative, and then you end up fumbling that, and you ended up fumbling a chance that you could have had earlier. So right now you're in the initiating phase, initiating new relationships, where we're shadow boxing, we're fighting the shadow. Don't be too stable, or think that maybe you're receiving certain things or receiving certain benefits from acknowledging certain aspects of your shadow, but keep fighting, keep doing that shadow boxing. um, because it'll fool you. Your shadow is not all negative. It's there to teach you. It's there.
Mm.
It's your suppressed aspect. So it's not always going to look negative. It's your teacher.
If anything, think about it as your blind spot. It's like that. Like
Mm.
you throughout your entire life, you've been getting hit. You don't know how you've been hit, but when you learn about your shadow self, you almost recover your blind spot.
100%. And then that's your blind spot too, because that's where the sun falls. So this is where your ego can't see. So because you're not in your partner's mind, or in the other people's relationships mind, this is where your self-image goes to fall, especially when you're valuing what they think of you so much. Your self-image can diminish there. But once you have responsibility, and you understand that it's still your light, that just because it's below the sun's below the horizon, because it's nighttime, doesn't mean that you don't that your core star is still shining from within, where you can still have your ego and balance it with others. It's the dance. So don't lose your sense of self. Don't lose your sense of directions. Don't fall into the victimization type of energy. Don't fall. And if we've been in that negative energy coming from the Virgo season, like say, aka we've been working or worrying, and it's not leading to any practicality, and then the Neptune and Pisces led us to don some victimization energy, a whole bunch of imaginations. Going into Libra, oh shit, all our relationships is going to be negative, playing out our worst nightmares, and shit like that, where the perfect vehicle for escapism is our relationships, blaming everything on everybody else. But now now you can't do it anymore, because now Libra is your shadow aspect. Now all those negative aspects that you see in your relationships are projections that are coming from within you that you need to heal. And once you do that, and this is the real magic of that inner work, like we keep on doubting that what real inner work can do. Niggas, that's what I was talking about before in the other video where like Edgy Huberman would be talking about meditation so that you can relax and get better sleep or whatever. And it's like, yo, yeah, yeah, that's good and that's all fine and dandy and shit like that. But nigga, do you know the levels that shit can get to if you really were to dive into those aspects? But we keep on setting the cap so low, you know. It is battle with your shadow. You don't realize how good your relationships can get, or that nasty, sour, toxic relationship that you guys just can't get along. You figure out what if internally is being projected onto that person, and you face and confront that and shadow box that motherfucker. Either that they leave your life or those energies get rectified, guaranteed. But you have to really go through that fight, and you really have to take accountability for what action it is, and you really have to take that action to go and rectify the energy, and guarantee most nine times out of 10 it has nothing to do with that person. It's everything to do with everything else. 9 times out of 10 in a relationship, the nigga's unfulfilled at work, and that's why he's lashing out on his shorty. That's why he's cheating. That's why he's doing this. 9 times out of 10 is because the shorty doesn't feel fulfilled, or she doesn't feel safe and secure because her mom never taught her how to be a woman, and that's why the relationship starts not going well with the nigga, and that's why everything ain't good, ain't right ass niggas ended up in those relationships. So take your power back, take your power back, and realize where the real center is when we're talking about our relationships, and stop projecting it. This is your seventh house. They're in your seventh house. If you get what I mean, it's not the seventh house. It's not Libra. It's your seventh house. If you get what I mean, it's where you have Libra from your perspective, with you as the center. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's how you can take your power back this Libra season. But yeah, yeah, I think we can end it right there. That's probably good for Libra season. Thanks for watching, y'all. Check out our website, truspace.biz. Check out our Instagram, truspace underscore. We got a bunch of things coming. If you fuck with the video, leave us some comments. Tell us anything that you want to see, want to have explained. If you fuck with the message, leave us some nines down in those comments so we know, you know, those real ones, those people that is watching that fuck with us, and yeah, we'll catch you guys on the flip.
Mm-hmm. Take care, guys.
Sweet.